called the circle of control. And the essence of this is that as we are thinking about what it is we want, where it is we're going, what it is we need to do to actually get there, we need to also think about where's the control here, who's got the control here, and what do I need to do in response to that. So in the centre of this circle it says the word control. This is about me. I'm in the centre of the circle. So any time that I'm in conflict, the first thing I need to be looking at is me. What's going on for me, and what do I have control over in this regard? The second circle is called influence. So this is about the other, and in relationships it would generally be about my partner. So this is out of my control, but it may be within my influence. So for the centre of that circle, it's about me, and what can I do about it from my perspective. The next level of that is who else is involved in this, and what can I do to actually influence a good outcome in my relationship with that person. The outer ring of this circle of control talks about concern, because these are the things that I have neither control over nor influence over. So if control's about me, influence is about the other, concern involves all the rest of the people on the planet, or indeed the planet itself, because there are some things that I can be concerned about, like the environment, like what's going on politically, but I may not have immediate control over that in terms of where I'm at. I may not have an immediate influence over that either in terms of, you know, where the country's at or where the world's at. I'm going to take a little sideline here and tell a story. Do any of you remember the days when in the Domain, in the city, every Saturday, you remember?
I remember in London. Yes.
Oh, in London. Okay, and you're absolutely. And was it in a Domain, or was it, what was the car? It was in Hyde Park. Okay.
Remember a guy named Webster?
In Hyde Park? Cool. Okay.
It's a great place to go if you didn't know anybody in London, and I didn't know anybody in London.
Great way to meet people. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, I don't know if they do it anymore, but here it was in the Domain, and certainly 40 odd years ago, Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon could be spent in the Domain, which is the park in town, listening to the people on their soapboxes, because that's how they would talk to people. They would take their soapbox, which was just a little wooden box, put it down on the ground somewhere on a bit of green grass, and they would step on it, and they would tell the world about whatever it is that they had to tell the world about. And it was wonderful sport. I want to tell you a little story about my daughter, who has several soapboxes that she likes to mount periodically. From the time she was quite small, my daughter Petra was an environmentalist. Interestingly enough, she's not long ago completed her degree in environmental science, so this has been part of her life since she was knee-high to a grasshopper. My daughter, being such, sort of had a very strong conviction about her planet. It was her planet, not anybody else's planet, it was her planet, and what people would do to her planet. Now, as a 3-year-old going up to a large man, pulling on his shirt tail saying, "Excuse me, but that cigarette butt does not belong there," or "that piece of paper does not belong there. You are destroying my planet. Would you please pick it up and put it in the bin?" That's all really cute from a 3-year-old, but by the time they get 15, it's not so cute anymore. But she had a soapbox, and she used to preach this sort of environmental responsibility, which I loved and I still love in her. She's now, by the way, a Jillaroo somewhere in Central Northern Territory. She's totally incommunicado from me at the moment because she is so far from anything. Do you know what a Jillaroo is? A Jillaroo is somebody who goes to those huge properties in Central Queensland, Northern Territory, you know, hundreds of thousands of acres, and they get on a horse or they get on a quad bike, or nowadays they actually get into helicopters, and they go out into the wilderness and they round up the cattle and bring them into the corrals to be what they called mustered, to be counted, to be sold to market and then transported. So my daughter's job currently is, you know, somewhere out there in the paddock rounding up cattle and fixing fences and taking care of little calves who have lost their mothers, and, you know, cooking for the men, and just about any other job they can find for her. So she's doing this sort of work now, so she's still an environmentalist. So she had this soapbox, and it's always been around, that she wanted to talk about people's responsibility to her planet. It came to a point in time where I actually had to stop her and say, you need to just settle down, because when she could get upset, she could really get upset. She would rage, basically. And the raging obviously didn't do anybody any good, and least of all her. It would just distress her so much. So at one point I actually had to say, slow down, sweetheart. We need to have a conversation about this, you know, need of yours to, you know, change the world. It's time for you to just focus back on you, to think about what it is that you actually have some control over, maybe some influence, but what you have control over and what you need to do in order to influence others to your way of being. But it's got to start with you. Show by example. Model what you want other people to be, and they will follow suit. Like a pebble dropped in a pond, the ripple effect will happen, I assure you. I think she got the lesson and she did take it very seriously, and now she is living that environmentalist lifestyle, I guess, for herself in the way that she's now working. So the soapbox, and I wish they'd bring it back. I think that